do you forego the ergo? The ergonomics, the way we do stuff? Do you miss it, skip it, not worry about it, and encounter issues later? So recently, I discovered I had some, bruising, or not bruising, more scars, bleeding on my knuckles. It seems like I scraped it on something, but I don't remember doing that. And then I realized the way I scoop up the baby, there is this sort of waterproof layer we put on the, changing table, and I scoop it up, and I must scrape my fingers, and my hands are pretty dry because I wash a lot of dishes nowadays, touch a lot of water, stuff I don't normally do. And I realized that that's the cause. Also have some neck pain, shoulder pain. I'm sure holding the baby like this, one arm higher than the other, isn't good for you. But we don't think too much about it. At least I don't. And I feel it's the same way at work. You're like, just for a little bit. But a little bit turns out to be a long bit. Because this is what you do day in, day out, for months, years. You need to really do a setup. I think the main issue for most of us is we don't think or realize that, wait a minute, this is a huge part of my job. I'm a doctor. I work in a hospital. You think I'd be out seeing patients and stuff, but actually we spend a lot of time in front of the computer. We put in orders, we write our notes, review imaging studies, labs, etc. And how we sit is very important. I'm having the same issues as I did before. Not as bad, but I don't have a classic job for having issues with wrist pain, hand pain, elbow pain. Not like a programmer, which I was before. Then I actually saw somebody for ergonomics evaluation. And yes, there's fancy things, like if you look at this. So this is a gold touch keyboard. These are easily hundreds of dollars. You can move them, right? So it's variable. You could adjust it. This is a vertical mouse. So instead of having your wrist like this, you have your wrist like this. One more neutral position. There's all this equipment, but the gist of it, the key point I learned is it's not about equipment. That could help. But the essential thing is you need to take a break. You need to realize what you're doing and stop those bad postural activities. And that's the hard thing, because it's something you sort of have to do all the time. You have to change your habits. From, I know it's bad, but just a little bit, right? Like you're bending over to do something, just for a little bit. Until you get old, right? 50, let's say, and then just a little bit, you sprained your back and all of a sudden you're out for a week. Which I guess happens to people. I haven't had it happen to me, knock on wood, yet. But I think the thing is, ergonomics, right? It's one of those things that permeates our life throughout everything we do, just like posture. And yet, so often we skip it. We miss it. We don't think about it. We forego it because we're too busy with other stuff. Is it good to take a step back and think about the way we do things versus just doing things? The theory behind things, right? It's not popular. Nowadays, Duolingo, all these things, when you learn languages, you just start. Who cares about the grammar? Figure it out later. Not that important anyways. But I think that's one thing where you really have to think about, what do I do? What do I spend a lot of my time doing? The best example I can tell you is, when I was in residency, we shout out ENT. And I remember the ENT attending showing us very proudly his setup. He says, because I spend half my time cleaning ears, which is a whole other issue in itself, right? ENT doctor, why are you spending half your time cleaning ears at Kaiser? But because I spend half my time cleaning ears, I had to preserve myself, so I have the whole setup. And he just jerry-rigged all these piping, tubing, all this stuff, so you could have a much easier, ergonomically satisfying time cleaning ears. He's smart. The rest of us, unfortunately, aren't. But we gotta start thinking.